All right, today we have Alex Mantovani in the house. What's up, Alex?
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us. The Italian way.
that's almost right.
Okay, almost
Yeah,
right.
yeah, Mantovani. That's
Mantovani.
right.
It sounds cooler when you say it. So for those guys who don't know, Alex recently got fourth place in the WCOOP for 612,000 US dollars. That's amazing. You must feel on top of the world.
Yeah, that is a lot of money. It doesn't look real, like
When you see it in your account, just 612,000.
yeah, unreal. I was just getting non-stop messages from everyone,
That's so cool.
and then
Except
I
for
went
me.
to bed.
Except for me who
Yeah,
doesn't follow the
no,
WCOOP and I had no idea. The funny thing was I actually messaged Alex just to ask a random question, and I was like, "Hey, how'd your WCOOP go? Do you have any deeper ends?" And Alex is just like, "Are you trolling me? I got fourth place for $600,000." So you sent me a couple hands. Do you want to dive into those?
sure.
Cool.
They're all weird ones.
All right. Here, let me.
People are gonna like it.
Okay, let me
They-
pause. They're all weird ones. 9-10 suited, middle position. What do you have here? 50, about 58 big blinds. Any info on who this guy was at the time, or?
Yeah, this guy, he was the only recreational player at the final table. I did the research after we got to the final table, so I didn't know this by the time this hand was
You
played.
said he was the only recreational.
Yeah,
So you
he
didn't know that.
was. Yeah, he's a Greek live reg, something like that. He lives in the UK.
Okay. Okay, so
Okay.
big blind calls, three-way.
I start with a c-bet here.
Yeah.
I have lots of good turns and rivers,
Yeah.
and I'm multi-way. I'm out of position versus a big stack, so I like to c-bet a more polarized range, and
Yeah.
I think this fits
Yeah.
well into
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you flop a gut shot with 9-10 suited, three-way with the backdoor flush draw. Definitely not the worst flop. But do you already have some kind of thought process of like, I'm gonna do this on the turn and the river, or are you just kind of gonna feel this one out?
I'm definitely barreling turns that are good for my range. I'm barreling overcards. Of course, all overcards here give me some added equity. The ace is a tricky one. I'm probably barreling if it's a heart and not barreling the other ace X, because I'm not c-betting my ace X with
Yeah.
a high frequency here.
Yeah. Although if you knew he's a recreational, you could maybe get away with it, but
Yeah.
you don't know that
Yeah.
at the time.
So yeah, I'm just barreling the predictable turns.
Yeah.
So this was
Here's
a
where
fun
it gets weird. Getting
Yeah, yeah.
cheeky, Alex.
Yeah, exactly. So
Really smart bet.
this is something
1/6 of the
I've been
pot.
working. This is something I've been working on lately.
Okay. Tell us about it.
This turn card is kind of neutral. Is not exactly better for my range or his range. But it does improve my hand.
Mhm.
And if I check, I'm gonna be capped, and I can't face turn and river aggression.
Yeah.
I can probably like check, call, turn, check, decide river, and by decide I mean folding with a really high frequency if I get to the river like that. So I thought I can try to bet really tiny here. I'm still gonna get called by like 6-7 suited, 7-8 suited, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, that type of hand. It looks a bit trappy, so I think it's important for me to remain uncapped.
What hands would you say that are actually strong nutted hand, like that you would balance this with? Or do you not really care about balancing versus a particular player?
Yeah, I didn't know he was a recreational player by then, so I could probably do this with pocket 10s,
Yeah.
not blocking the jacks.
Yeah.
I would probably play the same.
Maybe jacks, maybe 10s, maybe 8-9 suited?
Yeah, 8-9. I'm definitely doing that. That would be the strongest hands probably I would use to balance that.
What do you think of jack high spade draw?
I like doing that with Jack X of spades, but most Jack X I'm gonna have here is gonna be Queen Jack, King Jack, so I think I'm probably going bigger with those particular hands. If I have something like Jack 8 suited, sure, and Jack 9 suited, Jack 9 spades, Jack 8 of spades, I wouldn't mind, but the overcard ones I'm probably going bigger.
Bet here, call, check.
And then check and pray.
Nice. And he had, was it 8s?
Yeah,
Yes.
it worked.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking through this hand on myself. I definitely normally wouldn't have If I knew he's a recreational, then I love that size. I don't know. I would just ask myself, what are the hands we're getting value out of here? There's 8, 7, 8 suited, but
6, 7 suited, maybe.
I don't know, is he definitely flatting those? I feel like a lot of players might kind of 3-bet or fold those. Or did you feel like you guys are deep enough where...
I didn't know he was a recreational player, but I didn't have aggressive stats on him. I remember that he didn't 3-bet at all.
Yeah. My main concern with betting that size was just, I don't know, you know, 8s is one of the lucky hands that this works out with. You know, maybe he could have 5s and 6s. I don't know if he floats the flop with those or not. The 9s were blocking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still haven't formed an opinion, but the more we talk about it, I feel like there are a lot of really strong hands we could balance it out with.
Yeah, and there's just a fact that smaller bets are much tougher to play against than big bets, you know?
Yeah. And you know what, to be honest, in these big tournaments, people are scared, like, when they see something new and weird, like, they don't want to get themselves in a weird situation, so...
yeah. I did a good job of keeping it new and weird.
Yeah, for sure. 10 deuce suited. So how deep is this now?
This was 4 tables left, something like that.
All right, so we have middle position raise, and we called out of the big blind. So he checks.
When he starts with a check, I already think he's capped. This turn is really good for me because I think he would c-bet his gut shots, and versus the big blind specifically, I think he would c-bet stuff like 10s, 9s, and 8s, you know? So,
and just to clarify to any listeners who aren't as familiar with some of the more advanced poker terms, is capped means, you know, because he checked, it's not possible for him to have the nuts, you know. He would have bet with his 2 pairs and his sets. Of course, people are capable of slow playing, but especially something like 9-10, you know, he probably isn't going to check 9-10. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I thought in the hand. So I think he's going to have lots of ace highs. He's going to have 7x sometimes. He's going to have pocket 6s, pocket 5s, pocket 4s maybe, you know. So he is not going to have some strong hands. So I already decided to attack the way his range is constructed with an overbet. Yeah.
Attacking the cap range, overbet, and you're blocking 9-10, so you could have 9-10. It's harder for him, and it gives you action. So
and I have lots of stuff like 7-8 as well. I have pocket 7s. I have pocket 3s. So I have a lot of
What are you
hands.
putting him on now that he kind of capped his range, but he's calling here? What are you...
Yeah, well, after he calls here, I think he's going to have some sort of, like, pocket 9s maybe that he decided to check back instead of betting. He can have stuff like ace-7 suited that he's not going to fold to a single bet in that scenario. He can even have something like ace-10 maybe, you know?
Yeah. You're blocking the 10, so the less likely.
Yeah, I'm blocking the 10. So I think it's more likely for him to have a 7 or an under pair to the jack that is like... So he can have pocket 8s, which is bad.
Yeah, 7,
because
8
I
suited.
block pocket 10s. So it leaves him with pocket 9s that I can get to fold on the river.
Yeah.
But and he can have 7x, you know, a7 suited at least, 6-7 suited. 7-8 suited is a nightmare, but it's possible. So all of that.
Now the backdoor flush gets there.
The backdoor flush in general is something scary when I bet that big on the turn and he calls.
Mm-hmm.
But again, considering I'm on the big blind, I think he would bet most of his backdoor combinations. I'm not concerned. He has many flushes, and also as the big blind I have all the flushes because I'm defending all suited combination. If he check back something like ace king or ace queen of diamonds, it's just 2 combos, so this is still a good card for me, you know. I went for the big bet because I'm wrapping a strong hand, but I sized it down because since his range is capped as well, I think my value bets would size down a bit, and I think the portion of his range he calls is kind of inelastic. Is not like the sizing I use is not going to change.
It seems like you have a lot less bluffs as well now that this card kind of got there. Fold! Alex is a hero. Crushing it, man. Now I see why you shipped this. So under the gun raise. You have, how deep are you here? You're about 60.
The ladies.
60 big blinds.
66 bigs.
So we give 3
Yeah,
bet
he's
here.
61. He has 61 bigs.
So a little, just over 3x. And Ruckus the Jam, 4 bets under the gun.
Okay, so
Puke.
I have my HUD, and I have pop-ups. So I have the relevant information to my eyes, but when I need more detailed information, I have to click on the stat. Yeah, so I had 500 hands on the guy, and I had him folding 75% to 3 bets, 12 out of 16, so that's a relevant sample. And then this guy 4 bets me.
Well, would you ever consider just flatting if you'd seen those stats, or are you still more likely to 3-bet just because it's so great anytime you call?
I would be happier flatting kings. Aces I would flat close to 100%, because like the guy on the big blind, he's a solid brag, and he would tag along, So I'm not a fan of playing queens 3-way, out of position.
Yeah.
Queens need a bit more protection than kings would need, and aces I would flat.
Oh, the fact that the big blinds only has 30 big blinds make me feel a little bit better, because you can't completely stack me. But yeah, that's definitely a valid point.
So he folded 75% to 3 bets, and he 4 bets me, which is already kind of disgusting. And then like he raises 12% from early position as well. So
it looks like he has aces.
He has aces, man.
And you don't know if you just don't know if he's capable of ever bluffing here. Some people never bluff here.
Yeah.
But you have queens.
Yeah, and then I really thought about folding pre. Because of the stats and stuff. But then I said, man, if I fold pre, this is too weak. This is something a lot of players make mistakes, and I do a fair amount of mistakes until now. Even though I'm trying to work in this area of the game, there are spots we just know we are beat, or people are never bluffing. But then we go all GTO and say, oh my god, if I fold here, I'm folding too much, and etc. And then,
sometimes you gotta play exploitable.
Yeah, I did a lot of exploits, especially when I was deeper. They worked great. I mean, you saw all the hands.
How would you describe a GTO versus exploitative in like a really short kind of few sentences to someone who's not as familiar with those terms?
GTO is the short for game theory optimal, for people that don't know. So a game that like maximally exploits that strategy, and then he adjusts and maximally exploits your strategy until you get to a point where no one can exploit no one.
So it's like you guys are both kind of playing perfect computer algorithm poker versus each other.
Exactly.
Perfectly mathematical simulated models.
Yeah, and then exploitative is like you play versus a guy that you know that never bluffs. So you can fold everything but the nuts because the guy never bluffs. And so you adjust your strategy. So for example, if you have a strong hand and then the guy that never bluffs goes all in, you can fold. Whilst if you're playing versus a guy that's really splashy and aggressive, you can have a weaker hand and call in the same situation.
A really like a dumbed down kind of classic example of exploitative is opening the button. If the big blind folds too much, you can open the button 100% of the times. But if you open the button that much, the person can just 3-bet you and win a lot of chips, and you're going to have to keep folding. But because they never 3-bet, you can just open 100% of the buttons. Okay, so
that makes sense.
So this guy 4-bet.
It's a good example.
Yeah.
So this is a spot I felt I could make an exploitative fold because of this guy's stats. Like, he already opens 12% from EP, which is in the lower margin. People usually open like 15% from EP, something like that. So 12% is low. And he folds 75% to 3-bets overall.
Everything is saying to get out of this pot.
All of a sudden, he 4-bets.
And
it's
of
course,
we call.
Yeah, but I could get away pre-flop.
I would agree with that.
How do I fold here?
I also agree with that. I probably normally would consider shoving here, but based on the stats and the information you just gave, like absolutely not. Like it seems like this guy has aces, and you're just trying to see if you can get away.
This was also 1.5 hours before the end of day one, maybe less.
Oh, wow.
It was really close to the end of day one, I remember.
This is brutal, the fold here.
Yeah.
It's nice you have the queen of spades at least. Makes you a
Yeah,
little
I
bit-
blocked. Yeah, exactly. I thought that, like.
Oh,
But
my God.
he had aces. He's gonna watch this and he's gonna tell us he had aces.
So how do you, sometimes after I have a hand like this, I'm like, God, if I just folded on the flop, I could have saved that and saved the flop C bet. You know, it can get really frustrating. Were you feeling kind of annoyed after this hand, or, you know?
I do a lot of breathing techniques and meditation.
Yeah.
This was close to a break, so
Mm.
the next break I was just meditating for the full break. You know,
Yeah.
like just
Okay.
refocusing.
Yeah.
I think those tools are really important for me, for my life in
Yeah.
general, but for poker they are really helpful.
Yeah, and it kind of goes with the way I was saying poker, a lot of analogies to life, that sometimes you just find yourself in tough situations, you make a mistake, it's really easy to get frustrated, spiral down and make more mistakes, but if you find a routine, you go meditate, you figure out whatever it is to snap you out of that, get back in the game, stay focused, and do your thing. Sounds like you
Yeah.
do a pretty damn good job at that, Mr. Alex.
Thanks, man.
Uh,
I'm doing my best. I still have a lot to learn and improve, but
Yeah.
I try to get 1% better every day.
Yeah. Awesome, man. It was awesome talking to you. Thanks for sharing all of your insights. You're gonna come play on Check Raise sometime with me. Maybe it sounds like you
Sure,
gave so
man.
much good information. We'd love to come have you give some some seminars or coaching, or come hang out with the players on Check Raise.
Sure, man. We can sort something out for sure.
We're running daily free rolls right now, 5 free rolls a day. So there's a lot of action on there, and we'd
Yeah,
love to get you on there soon and have some fun with our
For
players.
I can be there. You can put a bounty on my head.
All
to
right,
make it
awesome. Sounds
saucy.
good, man. All right,
Okay.
thank you very much. Congrats again on your win. Enjoy your
Thanks,
time
man.
off. Enjoy your time with your friends, and hope to talk to you again soon, man.